What's going on, everybody? It's Nick Kosko with On3 Sports, and it's time for the Big Ten Wrestling Championships in Maryland this weekend on March 9th and 10th. The Terps are playing host this year here in 2024. It's going to be a good one, and I now have my preview and predictions up at on3.com, so be sure to check those out in detail. But let's run through the weight classes as we know them. Of course, we're going to start out at 125 pounds. This one, I'm not trying to pick a lot of chalk here, but I do like Matt Ramos of Purdue over Eric Barnett, the 3 seed of Wisconsin. Now, 125 we know has been just wild all season long, regardless of conference. It's been just as wild in the Big Ten. I like Ramos, though. He's a national finalist last year. He seems like he's been the best guy at the weight overall throughout the entire year. I know there's been a lot of inconsistency, of course, nationwide. Drake Ayala is a popular pick to the finals from Iowa. He's the 2 seed, but I like the way Barnett's wrestling right now. I think he's going to end up getting to the finals off that side of the bracket. You got to watch out for guys like Patrick McKee, Caleb Smith from Minnesota and Nebraska, respectively. Braden Davis could really surprise as well. The freshman from Penn State, Michael DiAugustino, is a savvy veteran from Michigan, and Brendan McCrone and Dean Peterson from Ohio State and Rutgers, respectively. You look at those two guys as well. They already wrestled this year. They're going to be that's going to be a first-round matchup, by the way. So it just goes to show you how deep this weight class is. And to be honest with you, I would not be surprised if any of those 9 guys have some sort of combination on either side of the bracket was this final here in the Big Ten this weekend. But I am going to lean with Ramos here, the number 1 seed out of Purdue. He'll get the title for the Boilermakers, and probably have that the best argument for the number 1 seed when it comes to NCAAs. All right, so let's go to 133 now. I like Dylan Raginson. He is the best guy at this weight all season long. Undefeated in the conference. He has not been. I mean, he's been tested, obviously, but he's been a new dominant version of himself here in 2024. I like him over Dylan Chauver. He earned the 2 seed this year. He has a lot of conference wins. He had that loss against Minnesota earlier in the year. That was to Tyler Wells in sudden victory, but didn't really affect his seeding here. So, and again, he has the head-to-head over the number 3 seed, Nick Bouzakis of Ohio State. Bouzakis is another popular pick to meet Ragusin on the other side of this final. I'm going to roll with the 1 seed, though, to win this one. Chauver, I like him to make a run to the finals. It'd be the first time Rutgers actually had a Big Ten finalist since 2019 when they had Anthony Ashnall and Nick Suriano. Bouzakis, very dangerous. I think Jacob Van Die's very good as well, but he's on the same side as Dylan Ragusin. Aaron Nagao, again, same situation. He's going to be on the same side of the bracket as Ragusin. Wouldn't be surprised if he made a bit of a run, but he has struggled against conference competition this year. But other than that, I like Ragusin over Chauver at 133. So let's move on to 141. So my first, a little bit of an upset right here. The undefeated Bo Bartlett, number 1 seed for Penn State, is going to go down in the finals, at least in my mind. Decided to go, this is not really out of left field, as we know how good Real Woods is for Iowa. National finalist from last year, obviously, coming up short against Andrew Alirez of Northern Colorado. He gets the 3 seed, though, because he's behind Jesse Mendez as well, the 2 seed of Ohio State. Now, I really believe that this way is going to come down to one of those 3 guys, whether it's Bartlett, Mendez, or Woods. I think Woods is going to turn it up a notch. It's postseason time. He'll turn it around at the right moment. He'll run through this bracket, get to the semifinals, probably an epic semifinal against Jesse Mendez, and I think he will get the better end of Bo Bartlett this time around. Bartlett is extremely underrated when it comes to his gamesmanship and how he knows how to win. He's a low-scoring guy in folk style, but I got to say, I like watching him wrestle because he's just so stout at every single position, and it's a reason why he has not lost a single match this season. So, but I am going to go with Woods, though. I like him just to, kind of, again, you have that national finalist pedigree. I think he's going to turn up a notch at the right time. Went through a little bit of a lull, and I like him to come out on top of this bracket. Real Woods over Bo Bartlett at 149. Brock Hardy, Sergio Lemley, the 4-5s here, Nebraska and Michigan. They're going to be very interesting to watch as well. I like Lemley a lot. He can make some serious noise, perhaps getting to the semifinal against Bo Bartlett, the 5th seed, the freshman out of Michigan. So let's go to 149 now. Austin Gomez over Ridge Lovett in this one. That's what I have it. Now, this could be a high-scoring affair. It really could. We know how good he can be when he's firing off on all cylinders. We know how exciting Austin Gomez is. He just qualified for the Olympics with Team Mexico, so he's on a high right now. Now, a lot of people have said, now, does he just come off that high and doesn't turn it back up again until NCAA. It's again, you have it, you just qualify for the Olympics, but now you have conferences and then nationals right after that for Michigan. But I do like Gomez in this one. I know Lovett beat him earlier this year by 7. It was quite a one-sided affair at that time. Lovett's been unbelievable this year in his return from a red shirt. I like him a lot. I think, you can go either way with this one. I know Caleb Rachi from Iowa, Tyler Kasak of Penn State are the other two guys to watch out for in this weight. Dylan D'Amelio, can't really rule him out either, but then again, Kasak or D'Amelio in a potential quarterfinal is going to have to take on Lovett on that side of the bracket in a semifinal. Now, again, these are by the pre-seeds, by the way, at the time of this taping, and of course, when my predictions came out. So God forbid there's any changes at the end of the week on that Friday or right before the brackets come out. But I do like Gomez over Lovett in this case. I think he's going to have a great tournament. He turns it up postseason time. We've seen it before at Big Tens when he was with Wisconsin. He can really turn on the juices. He's a crowd favorite. I like Gomez in this weight this week, so I'll take him over Ridge Lovett in the final. Let's go to 157, and now here comes the Penn State dominance. Now, we have not talked too much Penn State so far through the first half of this preview, but it starts right here. Levi Haynes, number 1 seed, national finalist last year as a freshman, Big Ten champion in 2023. He's going to do it again. And I like a bit of an upset on the other side of the bracket. I like Chase Saldate. I feel like he does get a lot of credit for how good he is, but he has yet to turn it on to where it's 3 matches in a row, so to speak, or something like that during tournament time where you're like, oh my God, that's how good that kid really is. I think he is that good. He can be really, really outstanding. He'll maybe get a higher seed at NCAA's All-American caliber type of wrestler. I feel like he's due for Michigan State to have a big tournament in Big Tens. Now he's going to have to get out of the way of Michael Blockus of Minnesota. He's the 2 seed. Brayton Lee of Indiana is up at number 3 right now. And then on the flip side, Jared Franick is going to have to get through Levi Haynes in order to get to the finals. And obviously getting there is not going to be an easy task as well. Peyton Robb of Nebraska. Now that's normally a guy in Peyton Robb that I would say probably could win this bracket, if not face a guy like Levi Haynes in the finals like he did last year. But Haynes and him are going to be on the same side of the bracket based on these pre-seeds. So I like Saldate to pull off some upsets along the way. He's going to have to take down Brayton Lee of Indiana if it's chalk, and then most likely to take down Blockus in the semifinals. Now, Blockus, a lot of people have said he's wrestling really free this year. That's what they've noticed. He was an MMA fighter over the summer, and that seems to be the full-time career path once he's done wrestling after his season is over. To return to Bellator, it seems like, and just fight MMA. He's a dog. I love watching Blockus wrestle. Love watching him fight. I just think Saldate's got a little something. He's got a little juice and maybe a little bit of disrespect. I know there's been some chatter about his seed being a little bit lower than anticipated, but I like Saldate to make a little bit of a run to the finals right here, but I don't think anybody's beating Levi Haynes. And in fact, I'm probably going to pick him by a wide margin when it comes to NCAAs in a couple weeks as well. So we're halfway through now. So let's take a look at the 165, and we'll go with Mitchell Messenbrink of Penn State over the number 1 seed, Dean Hamidi. Now, I like Dean a lot. He's very savvy, very technically sound, could score a lot of points. Very exciting wrestler for the Wisconsin Badgers. Messenbrink's undefeated this year, and that's by no coincidence. He's in that Penn State room being coached by Cale Sanderson. You see the talent in that room. He's a transfer, and he's still, I believe he's a redshirt freshman, still very young, but he just gets it done, and he just looks like he's really enjoying himself. He said as much, during post-match pressers or during post-match interviews when they're broadcast on Big Ten Network, how much he just loves embracing the Penn State culture and wrestling for Penn State, putting on that blue and white singlet. I love his energy. I love the way he's wrestled this year. So tough, super tough in many different positions. I'm going to pick him to run through the bracket, get through over Hamidi in the finals. Other guys in this weight that you should watch out for, Michael Caliendo of Iowa. Now, Mikey's been really good this year. One of the transfers from North Dakota State, like his teammate Jared Franick. He'll be a tough out for Messenbrink at the semifinal round. Caleb Fish is another high-ranked guy for Michigan State, the 4th seed at this weight. He's going to be in the way of Dean Hamidi on that side of the bracket. So it'll be Antrell Taylor of Nebraska, and can't forget about Cam Amin of Michigan. Now, if you're talking about another guy who's going to be a 6th seeder right around one of those higher seeds to make a run to the finals, any of these weights, I do like Cam Amin to do so. He's shown it before. He can do it. He's an All-American for a reason. I do like Cam Amin as well to maybe come out of that side of the bracket, but because Messenbrink is a 2 seed and on that same side, I'm not going to rule out a Messenbrink Cam Amin semifinal, but I have to go Messenbrink all the way here at 165. So Penn State will get champion number 2 at this rate. Now, 174 is the most interesting weight class to me just because of an unfortunate injury to number 1 seed Carter Starocci of Penn State. Now, the 3-time national champion is my favorite to win this weight here at Big Tens as well as at NCAA's to get his 4th national title. Now, I'm just going to go under the assumption that he is going to medically forfeit those 2 matches and accept an at-large bid to NCAA's. There's been a lot of chatter on wrestling Twitter about that. Nothing's been confirmed. He hasn't confirmed whether he's going to wrestle, 1 match to at least get a win on the resume, then medically forfeit out, or however the case may be. Again, if he just straight up medically forfeits, he's got to do it twice. That's 2 losses to his record. So bye-bye winning streak, bye-bye undefeated season. And his seed will likely be affected quite a bit, maybe not too much, but a decent chunk of it will be affected when it comes to NCAA. So I feel like if Starocci is going to wrestle, and I know we've seen cases in the past where some guys maybe they win a match, they're in the auto bid, so they're automatically in, and then they'll medically default out after that. And again, the medical forfeit rule did change this year, so those are going to count as losses on your record. So maybe it's going to be a little bit of a different game plan this year for guys who are banged up. Now, I could see Starocci, at least to me, I would think if Starocci wrestles, he's going to wrestle the entire tournament because if he wins a couple, he's going to be in the Big Ten finals, and he's not going to not wrestle the Big Ten final, at least in my mind. So the way I look at it is he's either going to wrestle, go for the title, or he's just going to medically forfeit out here, take the 2 losses, get the at-large bid, and we'll see him in Kansas City. So I'm going to go into that assumption right now because of the nature of that injury. We don't really know the extent of it. Obviously, it looked bad enough where there is this conversation. So again, if he wasn't injured, I would pick him on that side of the bracket. And then I would ultimately say he's going to get this one over Shane Griffith, who is my pick for the first place right now without Starocci in the bracket. So I will go with Shane Griffith of Michigan, the former national champion from Stanford. I like him over Rocco Welsh. Now, Rocco Welsh to me was going to be my semifinalist on Starocci's side of the bracket. The freshman from Ohio State is one of the toughest, meanest guys I've ever seen to come in right away for a Big Ten contender in Ohio State. So I like Griffith over Welsh in the finals here. But again, if Starocci does wrestle a full tournament, I will say, this is my amendment right now, Starocci is going to win the Big Ten title and eventually a national championship as well. 184, a couple more weight classes to go. Isaiah Salazar of Minnesota over number 2, Lenny Pinto of Nebraska. That's my pick. This is a wild weight class. I really have no idea who's going to win this. I think Salazar is the most solid guy at this weight just based on his body of work this season. I got to go with him. It's pretty much chalk for me in this weight, although I haven't ruled out basically any of the top 8 to maybe make a run to the finals or just surprise some people. We've seen Bernie Truax, how solid he can be for Penn State. Obviously, they probably hope that he'd be a number 1 guy this year, dropping down to 184. Ryder Rogotsky can pin anybody. The Ohio State stud is wild to watch. The same goes for a guy like Layton Malachowski from Michigan State. He's a pinner, and so is Brian Soldano of Rutgers. He's a pinner as well, so those guys could really be bracket busters. Maybe not make the finals. Maybe they could. We don't know, but I'm going to play it safe here. I'm going to take Salazar over Pinto in the finals at 184. 197, this is basically next topic. Just to quote my guy, Willie Saylor. Next topic right here, Aaron Brooks is going to win this one here at 197. I'm going to actually pick a bit of a surprise on the other side of the bracket. Now, maybe I just have a good feeling, or it's just my New Jersey in me right now, but I think John Poznansky, if he does peak at the right time, he can make a run to the finals right here. Not out of the realm of possibility. Has some favorable matchups. He's the 7th seed at 197. We get Gabe Solers of Indiana in the first round. And then you're looking at a quarterfinal matchup with Jackson Smith of Maryland, who I think is just awesome. I love watching Jackson Smith wrestle. I think he'll be firmly on the – I'd be actually stunned if he's not on the podium this year in Kansas City as an All-American. Now, they did not wrestle in the regular season. Poznansky was not a part of that dual meet. So if Poznansky is firing off all the right cylinders, like a couple other guys I mentioned before, I think he can take out Smith in the quarterfinals. Then you probably get a matchup with Zach Glazier of Iowa. Really, really good. I know there's been a lot of talk about, the Ferraris going into Iowa. If AJ Ferrari was going to be the guy at 197, if he was eventually going to officially be on the team this year. Glazier beat him by the disqualification, that Soldier Salute final, very close match. But other than that, little controversy back in January. I mean, Zach Glazier's been awesome, but I do think Poznansky can get him. If it's not Smith or Glazier on that side of the bracket, I'm picking Poznansky. So as you see, he is my pick, but I would say it's either be Smith, Glazier, or Poz out of that side of the bracket. But in the end, doesn't matter. Aaron Brooks, 3-time national champ. He's going to win another Big Ten title. He'll win his 4th national title. I'd be stunned if it were any different case right there. Okay, so we'll go to 285, Greg Kirkvliet over number 2, Nick Feldman of Ohio State. So the Penn State heavyweight going to get it done here in Big Tens. Fell to Mason Paris in the Big Ten and national finals last year. But I like Kirkvliet. He's dominant. He's been the best heavyweight all season long. Tough to pick against him. Feldman would likely get a semifinal rematch with Lucas Davison of Michigan. That epic dual meet between Ohio State and Michigan came down to that match. Feldman got the win. He's been impressive, and coming off of the injury last year as a redshirt freshman this year at heavyweight, very, very impressive. Love the way he's wrestling all season long. Other guys who are going to be the ones to watch out for are Yaroslav Kuski of Rutgers, the 4 seed. Seth Neville's the 5 seed, despite the fact Neville's has a head-to-head over Yara. I don't know why Yara's in front of him based on the head-to-head results, but that could be a very fun quarterfinal. Other than that, this weight class is very top-heavy with the top 5 guys, if not really just the top 3 guys there. We're going to see Kirkvliet take on Feldman or probably Davison in the semifinals. But I'm going to go Kirkvliet over Feldman in the 285 Big Ten finals. So those are all my picks for the Big Ten Wrestling Championships. I'll be down there for On3 this weekend in Maryland. Be sure to check it out on Big Ten Network as well. And be sure to check out my picks on On3.com. This is Nick Kosko saying so long.